All right, we're gonna do it. Yeah, not the greatest game from the Lions there, losing to the Packers. I think we lost 27-13 at the end of all of that. Could have been a closer game, but you had that pick six with penalties that didn't go away. That definitely would have been a game changer. You also had that almost safety that kind of went the Lions' way. Pretty sure Jared Goff had a safety on that play. He kind of retreated. Pretty much anytime the ball carrier starts moving back under his own power, that's going to be a safety. But going into this game, I really had concerns about the interior of the offensive line, and I think that pretty much played out exactly how I thought it would, actually worse than I thought it would. Anytime you have three new starters on the offensive line on the interior, that could be a problem, especially the interior, because the interior of the offensive line is the most important when it comes to passing off stunts and picking up blitzing linebackers and stuff, and that kind of was a pretty big problem. We also had, Mahogany just got ran over at least once or twice by that 96, I forget his name. But yeah, left guard, you got a guy who's only played a few games in his second year. You got a rookie at right guard, Ratledge. I thought he played well. He got beat a couple times, though, of course. And then Graham Glasgow's probably the best of the three, but he wasn't great either. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Graham Glasgow's a better guard than center, so it's interesting to have him at center. But yeah, of course, that was going to be a problem already. But then if you play against a team with Micah Parsons or someone like that, there really isn't another player like that, but Micah Parsons being basically the best player in the NFL, he can move all over the line. They can put him on your guard. They can put him on your center, and he's just going to basically destroy anyone he gets on one-on-one blocks. Penei Sewell did his best, Penei Sewell's one of the best right tackles in the NFL, certainly. But there's really nobody that can just handle Micah Parsons, okay? So that's kind of the issue. That's kind of why a lot of Lions fans wanted to bring him in. But realistically, that might have not been possible with the cap space we have. We just extended Jameson Williams, and we're going to have to extend Hutchinson soon. I would expect the Hutchinson extension to come in the next couple of weeks, probably. Maybe the Lions just wanted to see that he's still able to play at a high level. That's the only reason I think they would be holding on to that. But yeah, the pass rush was really a big problem as well this game. I mean, we just could not get any pass rush without blitzing. Even a couple times we sent 5 or 6 guys and they picked it all up. And on that big play to Romeo Doubs over the middle in the first quarter, we sent 6 guys on that play, and they got like a 40-yard completion or something. So yeah, pass rush is definitely an issue. It's an issue that was brought up in every press conference after the draft, questions about it, are you going to bring in somebody? And I really don't know if they had a plan to maybe bring in somebody, but I think it's very evident if they want to compete this year, they're going to have to make a move. And I don't think at this point you're not really going to get an impact player with a trade for a pass rusher. And I don't even think the Lions can afford like an impact player. It's going to have to be more of a role player, someone who only really comes in on third downs. So yeah, maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll see something like that. But if they don't do that, it could be really tough. Especially with the defense they were running, it didn't really work with all the sim pressures and stuff. Dropping Marcus Davenport into coverage is something you should probably never do again. Yeah, I tried to find a video of this on live where they had Marcus Davenport dropping into coverage about 15 yards downfield over the middle of the field. It was just not a good idea. He's like a 6'7" defensive lineman who's more of a run defender. Like, why would you have him dropping in a hook zone? Just not a good idea. And he wound up being the seam defender on that play. But at least we got this really nice play from the rookie Isaac Tesla. This was an incredible catch. Really excited about this one. Hopefully we can get him a little more involved the next couple of games because this was like his first target, I believe. Yeah, a bit frustrating. I feel like he was ready to play, so I don't really understand why Khalif Raymond got so many snaps. But we totally should get him involved a lot more going forward. And yeah, pretty unfortunate game overall. Don't have a lot to add. It's pretty much the interior of the offensive line was really bad, about as bad as you'll see on Sunday. And the pass rush was not good enough. Versus a team like the Packers, they got receivers, they got a good offensive line, they can run the ball. You know, I really don't think the Lions are going to be a contender unless they make a move for somebody. Like I said, you're not probably going to get an impact player at this point. You might get a role player, someone who is good at rushing the passer, not the best run defender. That's typically the kind of guy that's easier to trade for at this time. But yeah, there in the third quarter, I guess the defense did tighten up a little bit. You know, they got, I think, a stop or two, and then they had that pick six that got called back because of the defensive holding, I believe it was. And then that block on Jordan Love was really weird. I didn't understand that at all. He was trying to go make the tackle. Hutchinson just pushed him over. It was just a pretty standard block. It wasn't like towards the head or anything. It doesn't seem like unnecessarily roughness at all. It just looked like a normal block. He just kind of like shoved him, you know. So I think the NFL will have to chill on those blocks of the quarterback when the quarterback's trying to go make a tackle on that interception. I don't really think that's going to stand. They're going to have to change that rule or change the way they're calling it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All we got for this one. Lions lose 27-13 at Green Bay. Tough game. Parsons was a huge problem, but I think if the offensive line plays a bit better, you know, as the season goes on, they will start to play better together, which is one of the reasons why I do think it is valuable to play your starters in the preseason, especially if you have 3 new linemen especially on the interior, all playing together. Probably was a good idea to play some of those guys in the preseason. But hey, we'll have to see how it goes next week. We have a chance to bounce back versus the Bears, a home game. And Ben Johnson coming back to Detroit. And hopefully we could do a much better job that week and get a win versus the Bears next week. Okay, that's all we got. And we'll catch you in the next video.